But I don't know why anybody is surprised here. He said when the thing failed the first time that he would have voted for it. So there we are. I'm sorry, Barbara.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, this thing of the $8 billion for the pre-existing conditions, even though the CBO has not analyzed it yet, it's clear from what others are saying who are experts that it's not enough. They're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars
And it's over
being
several
what's
years.
necessary for the pre-existing conditions, people with pre-existing conditions. And guess what? If you live long enough, you'll have one, I believe. But be that as it may, because the pre-existing condition is being alive on Earth. That's a pre-existing condition. So the thing is that, so he can tell her, well, you're going to get 80 cents of that $8 billion. Knock yourself out.
So you would have no cost change at all between somebody who's of good health and somebody with a pre-existing.
Absolutely not.
I'm not talking about the availability of the insurance. The availability of the coverage is there. If you're saying there should not be any cost differential at all, because remember, we're already subsidizing this in terms of taxes.
I need to be next now. Put your finger down. Rich, that's
No, I want to do
Republican
one
talk.
thing, okay? Ready? Here we go.
That is Republican talk. You don't have to make a choice between one and the other. You put in universal single payer and
Show me a country with more than 40 million people where that has worked, and then I'll have that conversation.
show me a country where capitalism involved in the healthcare system has worked. Also, no example.
I would say the United States up until the time of Obamacare.
But why?
Rich, the reason you got the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare is because these high-risk pools did not work. They bankrupted people. The largest cause of bankruptcy, you're a lawyer, you know this better than me, the largest cause of bankruptcy was health bankruptcy, Rich. This does not work. These high-risk pools do not work for people who are sick. Is there anyone in this room who doesn't know somebody who has a pre-existing condition? Everybody knows somebody who has a pre-existing condition if they don't have one themselves. The failure of high-risk pools is one of the things that drove support for the Affordable Care Act.
Now, before
First of all, I don't know that there was a lot of support, by the way, for the Affordable Care Act.
17% of the public support this bill that's going to pass today, or less.
And I would ask you how many people supported the Affordable Care Act, which, by the way, passed the Congress by how much? 219 to 212 is what the Affordable Care Act. So everybody's talking about, oh, Trump's 2 votes away, 4 votes away. 219 to 212. It was a very close question.
No hearings on this bill, no CBO scoring. In some cases, haven't even read the language of the bill. This is a tax bill. The Republicans want to pass tax reform to give tax relief to the top 1%. They need to pass this so that they can afford their tax bill. This is not a health bill.
Absolutely.
This is a tax bill.
Absolutely. The only difference is that the Republicans come out and admit, yes, this is partially a tax cut. If you remember, it was Obama who kept saying Obamacare is not a tax, not a tax, not a tax. And how did it get upheld in the Supreme Court? Because it was found to be a tax. And that was the only way it was found to be constitutional.
But then why are they misrepresenting this and saying it's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions? If it's a tax bill, say it's a tax bill. Don't lie to people like that poor woman in Chatham or wherever.
I don't think they are lying.
Just
they're saying,
admit it. If you're going to pass a tax cut bill, pass a tax cut.
They're saying people are going to be covered. Yes, there's about 3 different safety nets in between what you're talking about and the bill right now. One of them is that the state, first of all, most of the states I don't think are even going to opt out, but the states who do have to provide. Wait, you think New York's going to opt out of Obamacare?
New York. How about Mississippi?
But wait,
You need shared risk. That's a fundamental premise of insurance. Shared
Absolutely
risk.
agreed.
This distorts the potential for shared risk. You need shared risk. That's insurance.
I agree with shared risk. And by the way, I think every other thinking person in America agrees with the idea that in the old days that you could actually be uninsured because of a pre-existing condition. That didn't make any sense. That was unfair and discriminatory. And that's one thing that, to its credit, Obamacare did change. I think the other thing that it changed in a good way was the allowing kids to be on, children to be on until age 26. Unfortunately, a lot of people need that because they weren't able to get jobs coming out of college. But you can't blame the bill for that. So there were some good items of it. yes, we share, but we share risk anyway. You know, as recently as, you know, as long ago as 1994, when I ran for state senate as a Democrat, by the way, people were talking about...
Nobody believes that.
Yeah. Well, I came in 8th in a field of 8 during the
Oh, that's shocking.
Luckily, there weren't more people.
So you switched to Republicans who will vote for anybody.
No, I
if they
can
think
tell you, my income down with the Democratic Party is what happened. But even in 1994, one of the problems with healthcare in '94 was the extent to which people who were paying healthcare coverage had to subsidize the uninsured. It was becoming a large portion of the healthcare premiums. And I think Obamacare has exacerbated that. I agree with you, Teresa, that there should be shared risk, but that doesn't mean equal risk when we're already subsidizing it in 3 other ways.
Alan and then Teresa.
I have a very fast question, and that is the $8 billion they've been talking about.
$8 billion.
That's it. And that's nothing, by the way. That's nothing compared to what they're going to need for the uninsured, for the people. But my question to you guys is, how do you get that part of the $8 billion you need? You've got to fill out probably a form, as opposed to yours by right. You go in, you know, Obamacare. But here, you're going to have to figure out a way to even know your rights. Can you imagine how many of you have gotten forms from you know, the state or from anybody else to say, you can't get what you want until you fill out this long form and you have no idea what the hell they're talking about on it. That's what they're going to make you do in order to get that your share of the $8 billion, and you're going to have to shame yourself by doing that. Not good.
Are you extolling the administrative convenience of Obamacare? Because if so, you're the first one who's ever done that.
No, I am not. But I'll tell you one thing: universal health care would have been a hell of a lot better.
I just, real quick before you, I just want to say that this just came over that Ray Stefanik will also support the ACA.
Surprise!
Teresa.
So, Rich, one thing you said, I mean, there is shared risk. No matter whether it's the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, or whether it's this Trump Care bill, there will be shared risk. Because ultimately, people, if they need health care, they can go in, they don't have money, they go into the emergency room. But that's the worst, most expensive, highest way to share the
Agreed.
risk. It's
No
not
argument
good for
on
the
that.
individual, and it's not good for everybody else who has to pay for it. And what the Affordable Care Act has begun to show is it was helping to lower the rate of increase of costs. And so, yes, there will be shared risk, but we'll go back to doing it in the most expensive and the worst possible way.
I think we're going to continue to have some kind of insured risk pool for people who can't otherwise afford it, and you're going to have significant subsidies. Well,
There's a new
if that doesn't work, then Obamacare doesn't work, which I think is the road upon which we are on.
All I can think of is I have a friend who's going to a wake today for a family member, and that person's 30s. I'm trying not to disclose any details. But the person was in their 30s. The only recourse that person had for care of a chronic, life-threatening condition was through emergency room care. This is a conversation I had less than 24 hours a day about what happened. Mm-hmm. And it was explained to me, you know, that this person didn't have access because of employment, because we tie it to employment, and that's where that person went for care. So she was not having managed care of a chronic, life-threatening condition, and her wake is today. So that's all I can say. Universal health care, yes, I'm for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time. And
I wanted to keep going.
okay, a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank Wolf's Beer Garden, Krishan, Argyle Brewing Company, and Hudson Valley Hand Cut Scones for their beautiful meal that they have presented this morning. I also want to thank the technical crew, Carl Blackwood, Matt Plummer, Rob Chacon, and all of their great work so you could actually hear us this morning. Thank you. I want to thank Amber Sickles, Dina Salzman, Kayleen White, and Woody Woodworth for the incredible job that they have done in putting all of this together. And two special people that I'm hoping you will each give a hand for. Colleen O'Connell is our fund drive manager, and she really came did an amazing job in putting this all together and made it look easy. So a big hand for Colleen, please. Also, I would be remiss without thanking the person who keeps me on time and makes sure that we all do our job, and someone that I am just truly blessed to have as a working partner, and is just the dearest and nicest person that I could know, and is just amazing every single solitary day. Sarah LeDuc, our producer. Yield my 40 seconds for some final remarks from our...
Oh God, I have nothing prepared.
You don't have to
do
have
that.
anything. You only have 40 seconds. It doesn't have to be prepared. Go ahead.
Okay, I should have left years ago. And if I come back, I want another one like these when I leave again the second time, okay? Thank you so much for coming. Keep listening to the Roundtable.